Welcome to Smart News. I'm Paul Pimentel of Smart Communications. Our first story today, an update on the National Rail Contract Tentative Agreement. Last week, the tentative agreement was voted on in Congress, along with a separate bill on paid sick leave. Let's hear from Smart TD President Jeremy Ferguson, who joins us to discuss what's next for members covered by this agreement. President Ferguson, how would you characterize negotiations with carriers in the final days?
Well, they were all but stagnated. We had a lot of issues that just were not going to be overcome in those closing days. There was too many, they were too wide, and the variety, I can't say enough how many reasons that we feel we had for this contract being narrowly defeated in the ratification process.
President Ferguson, when do members get their back pay?
Well, by the now in effect agreement that was signed by the president on December 2nd, they have 60 days to pay out. So some railroads have already started processing, and I'm sure they will have their money right around Christmas or shortly thereafter. And other railroads, if their payroll is not as fast, they could run it right down till about the 1st of February.
The tentative agreement provides for local negotiations on a number of issues our members are concerned about. What exactly does that process look like?
Well, we've got another process to go because for the Transportation Division employees, members, and also for those that are in the other union, the BLET, we will see negotiations probably start up on property and go into what I'm calling like phase 2. As you are aware, we under Article 5 won the ability to get 2 additional rest days a week, voluntary, and we will have to serve notice on that. And the carriers during the PEB process won the rights to automatic bids and self-supporting pools under Articles 6 and 7. So they have the right to serve notice to begin those negotiations, and that is about a 6-month window with an arbitration backstop behind it. So our general chairman and our vice presidents that are assigned will have a lot of work ahead of them, probably in the next 6 to 8 months as those negotiations fire up, if the carriers serve notice and if we serve notice.
Would the resolution of the dispute with the carriers have been any different under a different administration, such as the previous one?
Well, I think we would not have a resolution under the previous administration or a different administration. And what I mean by that, Paul, is that we could be stuck in mediation or could have been stuck in mediation for, years. I think Amtrak set the record back in the late 90s. They were in mediation for well over 8 years. So President Biden issued the Presidential Emergency Board. And in doing so, also, the 3-member panel was selected. After that point, the president did not have control over how the 3 arbitrators made their decisions. But it was a very in-depth Presidential Emergency Board. There were a lot of arguments on both sides. And obviously their ruling gave a lot to us, gave us a lot of protections for many of issues, and then some things were awarded to the carriers. That is what happens in a Presidential Emergency Board, unfortunately. And we knew that going in, that it was going to be a fight. It was going to be a slugfest. And now we've seen big increases in the pay raises, the GWIs, that is. And then we've also seen the crew consist issue at the national level be put to bed. We do not have to fear arbitration in 6 months and take that ability away from our general committees to negotiate and or arbitrate or whatever the case may be. And then we've seen no negative changes to our healthcare plans. We went back to the 15% on the monthly contributions. That was really the only change that we've seen financially. But we have some extra benefits that have been added to that plan also.
President Ferguson, thank you much for being here today. We wish you well. Thank you.
Absolutely.
The Smart Heroes program provides 7 weeks of sheet metal industry training to active duty U.S. military members and recent veterans, allowing them to quickly enter the 2nd year of their SMART apprenticeship as they transition out of service. On November 7th, SMART veterans gathered in Washington, D.C., with representatives from the International Training Institute, Helmets to Hard Hats, and the Department of Labor to honor the contributions of sponsors Pfizer and Pharma to Smart Heroes and celebrate the ongoing success of the program.
We're here to celebrate the Smart Heroes as well as the veterans. We're coming up on Veterans Day, so thank you for your service. Thank you for your dedication. Every 8 weeks, we're able to go through another cycle of 15 transitioning soldiers and put them through a program that gives them really their first year apprenticeship. When they're transitioning, no matter what base they're in, they're not quite sure what to expect. They're not quite sure where they're going. They're not quite sure, do I have a job? Do I have health care? Can I sustain my family? Do I have retirement security? Gian here is one of our graduates. He's from the DC market, and he graduated out of our Colorado Springs program, coming out of Fort Carson.
Discipline of being in the military and bringing that to sheet metal actually helped a lot. Just staying focused, doing what I got to do, being a part of a team as well, just getting work done together. I think what I like about my local is they can make it feel like family. And it's almost like, it feels like the military almost.
It's a natural fit for them to want to go to an organization where they have the ability to have that sense of camaraderie, sense of teamwork.
It's just a marriage made in heaven, right? I mean, learning new skills, teamwork.
Smart Heroes program was developed 5 years ago. We just hit our 5-year anniversary. Couldn't be more proud in all the history of the ITI. I think one of the finest things it's ever done is being a small part of the development of this program.
Young man, you couldn't have made a better choice other than unless you went with the Iron Workers. Imitation is the finest form of flattery. We've been trying to stand up an on-base training program, and that's something I've been talking to Daryl and President Sellers about.
Whether it's Helmets to Hard Hats, Smart Heroes, or standing up the Iron Workers program, it's all good things that we need to do to help the men and women who protect us each and every day.
It's amazing. You like working with your hands, and this is the job for you. I love it. I love it.
As of December 13th, the FRA's Notice of Proposed Rulemaking regarding two-person crews has received more than 11,500 comments, a record-breaking show of solidarity for railroad workers. The FRA also invited experts from the Transportation Division to testify in a hearing on the proposed rule on December 14th. SMART members conducted an informational picket ahead of the hearing to raise awareness of this vital issue. For an update on the Notice of Proposed Rulemaking process, let's hear from the Transportation Division's Alternative National Legislative Director, Jared Cassidy.
Tomorrow, there's a hearing from the FRA to talk about crew size and safety that's related to mandate two-person crews on every train. PSR is cutting so much that the railroads are looking for every single place they can cut to make more money. It's not about safety anymore. Every single day in this nation, a life is saved because of the actions of a two-person crew.
Let me begin by thanking you guys. You have stood up and helped lead this country in the most important economic struggle that we face, and that is against the disgusting and outrageous level of corporate greed that we are seeing all across this economy. Yeah! And what you have shown the country is how outrageous this level of corporate greed and how we have got to, in the rail industry and in other industries across this country, tell the people who own this country that we're going to put an end to their greed.
Yeah!
This is about basic human dignity, this is about safety, and this is about what is right for workers in America.
This fight is not over. This fight is far from over. We are just getting started, and we are going to get this paid sick leave. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you why your fight is so important. Because when you all win this, this is going to be the first crack in the dam to win it for everybody.
Right. Yeah! Tomorrow that hearing takes place. That's why we marched today. We marched because of PSR. We marched because of two-person crews. We are tired of taking it every single day from these railroads and cutting us off in quality of life. Dignity and respect is what we demand. It's what we're going to get.
So we're actually in the public input of the process, and what happens with the notice of proposed rulemaking once the FRA issues one is that they go through an open comment period. They also have the ability to have public hearings, which is what we're doing now. Given the weight and the seriousness of the regulation or the potential for regulation, the FRA has asked for a hearing to be held here, and that gives both stakeholders, meaning labor and carriers, the opportunity to make their arguments. We are prepared for that. President Ferguson will be testifying tomorrow, and I am looking forward to the hearing, and I think we'll see good things come from it. After the hearing and the comment period is closed, FRA will go back internally and they will weigh all of the comments. I do know that they've been going through the comments currently in real time as they receive them, but there will be another process to where they vet them and look at them and weigh them and basically put them on a scale of importance. And public input is a very big piece of this. FRA has to consider that, so the number of comments is a big deal here, but once the comments have been analyzed and looked at, FRA will consider from a scientific, more data point, how things are going, and then they will actually come back and they'll issue a final rule from there.
The Beef for All Committee held its fourth meeting on November 30th in Chicago. Members from SMART, SMACNA, and the ITI gathered to celebrate the Beef for All Committee's achievements so far, as well as plan our work moving forward. We spoke with facilitator Deshaw Hockett and SMART members Sheena Jones and Amanda Filpo about the Beef for All Committee strategy for 2023 and beyond.
So Beef for All, it's a bold, multi-year effort to transform the entire sheet metal and air conditioning industry. The vision for Beef for All has two components to it. And so one is focused on the human side. And the human side of this work is about creating work environments that are welcoming and belonging for everybody who we serve in this industry. The business side is about creating a thriving industry where workers and contractors perform at their highest standards of excellence.
Every time I'm with the Beef for All Committee, I get super passionate, energetic. Today was amazing. I think that we have a really great committee going where everyone is super energized and bringing this industry to a better place. So I'm super passionate about it. I'm glad I'm in a safe space, in a safe room with people who are also passionate about the work that we're doing for Beef for All.
I thought it was really groundbreaking. The work that we're doing, the work that everybody has done to work really hard on their committees and push this work forward. I'm just blown away, honestly, by the forward momentum that everybody's done. So
we started off with an assessment process. A year later, we've moved from assessment to the action and implementation stage. And this is where we have an opportunity to operationalize and to make real all the different ideas that we heard from members.
New work for SMART members continues to come online across the country, with a $12 billion chip plant breaking ground in Phoenix just this month. Our union will need to recruit and retain more members in order to secure that work and to expand our market share moving forward. We spoke to Chuck Greer and James Sandoval of the SMART Recruitment and Retention Council about how our union is aiming to bring in members across sheet metal, transportation, and production.
What we're doing at the SMART Recruitment and Retention Council is working to better share information on how to recruit members, but also how to retain the membership that we have today. We're talking about sheet metal, transportation, and production. This is a vitally important council. It's part of the future. It's part of the committees that are going to make SMART stronger in the future. The projected amount of work that's coming into the United States and Canada, this council will only help increase the membership in minorities, people of color, women, everyone throughout SMART.
On our mission on the recruitment and retention is to figure out ways to lift barriers within our own union, to bring us more together, and also figure out ways to expand by recruiting more people into the workplace. And we're doing that by education. We're doing that by sharing experiences with each other and acknowledging that some of these barriers still exist today and we need to work on lifting them together. 5 years from now, I see us making a lot of progress. Today we had a great turnout, and I'm excited to see all the people that, are excited to learn what they did today and are planning to bring it back to their own locals to, spread the education. And I see us where, we'll basically have more diversity and inclusion at our work sites. Workers at the Kingspan factory in Santa Ana, California, fabricate industrial skylights.
Their work often involves welding fumes, chemicals, and other safety hazards. They took their union campaign public in October 2021, calling on the company to address their workplace safety concerns. A majority of Kingspan Santa Ana plant workers have signed a petition calling on the company to agree to a fair process for workers to decide whether to join a union. They also filed whistleblower complaints about workplace safety issues. Since then, Kingspan has been cited with 22 health and safety violations, with penalties totaling more than $21,000. The Clean Up Kingspan campaign has also been reaching out to architects and Lowe's customers, asking them not to do business with or buy Kingspan insulation products. Shortcomings in the company's approach to fire testing, certification, and marketing were revealed during the UK government's Grenfell Tower inquiry, following a deadly 2017 residential fire at Grenfell Tower in London. For an update on the latest Kingspan organizing efforts, we spoke recently with SMART organizer Roberto Torres.
The factory in Santana, California, they do skylights. And the reason that these workers are organizing is for basic things, the lack of respect, safety issues. They sign a petition, the majority of the workers, to request a company for a fair process to organizing whether they want the union or not. As soon as the workers did that, the company gave them a 6% increase. Before this, the company never really paid attention to those issues inside the company. The workers understand the power of organizing, the power of community, the power of allies has played a very important role because, when it comes to politicians, when it comes to community groups, every time that we call for action, they support these workers. When they weld, it creates a lot of smoke. So one of these community groups, we talked to them about trying to measure the levels of contamination inside the company. And immediately, they were down to help us. They connected us with Dr. Shahir from UCI Irvine, that he came and basically trained us on how to map the company and how to use the devices and to prove the levels of pollution inside the company were really, really high. In 2017, at the Grenfell Tower in London, there was a fire and 72 people died. In that building, after investigation, it showed that part of Kingspan insulation products was used. The investigation, it also showed a problem with fire safety testing with Kingspan products. In December, SMART members and allies, we're going to be flyering 10 stores in 8 states plus DC to let the Lowe's shoppers know about Kingspan. And for us, it's important for the public to be aware on these insulated panels that Kingspan sells, to make sure that they understand what happened in London and to think twice before they're buying this product, because at the end of the day, it's going to be for their houses or their buildings. So we want to make sure that they understand that whatever they're getting, it's being tested correctly.
The last 12 months have been extremely eventful for our union. We emerged from the previous 2 years of chaos and uncertainty and began to see our hard work finally pay off. Mega projects continue to break ground across our two nations, and the FRA's proposed two-person crew rule, if and when improved, will give railroaders a long-awaited victory. Let's hear from SMART General President Sellers, who spoke with us recently about the year in review and looked ahead to the future.
Brothers, sisters, and friends, happy holidays. As we enjoy time with our family and friends this season, we also look back on what has been an important year for our union and the victories that will benefit our families into the future. Your voice, your vote, and your advocacy have led to pro-labor administrations and good union middle-class jobs. In the U.S., the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, Inflation Reduction Act, CHIPS and Science Act, and investment back into American manufacturing will provide smart jobs. In fact, these bills have already kickstarted mega projects across the country. Our transportation division, brothers and sisters, your tireless work and effort brought the attendance policy to a national discussion. And we will continue to pressure the rail carriers throughout all avenues to respect the work we do, keeping America moving. Thanks to your consistent engagement with the Federal Railroad Administration, we finally have a notice of proposed rulemaking on two-person crews, and we expect the final decision in the coming months. Canada has realized pro-worker gains
at both the local and national level. A new card check law in British Columbia will make it easier for workers to unionize, strengthening our collective bargaining. And the inclusion of the labor mobility tax deduction finally eases the financial burden on our members who travel for work. Together, we will face challenges in the coming year from those who will try to limit our gains. But as long as we stand together and show solidarity to our cause, I know we can win these battles. Sisters and brothers, this is a joyous time of year, and I want to thank you for all that you do on the job, at the Union Hall, and in your communities. You are essential workers, and we are all grateful. Happy holidays, and please stay safe.
The victories we have achieved over the last year were not given to us. We worked tirelessly, from the job site to the ballot box, to win better opportunities and protections for smart members and for working families across North America. That work is not finished. We will continue to fight against corporate greed and anti-worker policies like precision scheduled railroading. In the new year, we need to stand together as union members, whether having each other's backs on the job or showing up at the picket line. As long as we have our solidarity, we will only grow stronger. Thank you, and happy holidays.